If you like the channel, please share, promote, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Sonny Liston versus Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, going out to a sporting view. Let's get into it. I think it's a good fight, but this is going to get me in trouble with the nostalgic fans because the nostalgic fans consider the fighters of earlier eras sacred, which is understandable. I consider them sacred. I might have some nostalgia, although I feel that I'm just a little more objective than most fans, not putting myself up on a pedestal or a high horse, but just calling it how it is, or at least I try to be objective, okay? But some fans would consider it disrespect to put a legend like Sonny Liston against a fighter like Deontay Wilder. And in their minds, the current fighters haven't proven themselves all the way, whereas past fighters have proven themselves. And I get that. But on the other hand, what happens in the ring is totally different than legacy, resumes, records. You can take your experience in the ring, but you can't necessarily take your legacy or resumes inside of the ring. No matter what you've accomplished on the night of the fight, it's just you and that other guy once the bell rings. Not taking anything away from the legends, not even taking anything away from the current fighters. But once that bell rings, all that's there is you two, not your past opponents. But as I said, you can bring the experience inside of the ring. A lot of times Deontay Wilder gets criticized for his boxing technique or lack thereof, lack of technique. Some people feel like his style isn't polished enough. He throws his punches too wide and too wild, so on and so forth. But my thoughts, just my thoughts. If the punches are landing and he's winning, isn't it all that matters? Granted, there's a drawback or drawbacks or disadvantages to any style, techniques, or methods of fighting. And Tyson Fury happened to be the one to expose those weaknesses. But just because Fury beat Wilder doesn't mean that the whole universe beats Wilder now. Now, his style may not be polished in some of our estimation, but look at it like this. Wilder is not a Mayweather, Andre Ward, or Bernard Hopkins type of fighter, and he never will be. So if we're looking for that from Wilder, we're not going to get that. We're not going to get it. Wilder is a knockout artist, and he makes no bones about it. He's never claimed any differently. He's a knockout artist, and his goal in the ring is to knock 7 bells out of you, which is fine. It's the job of the fighter to find a way to win, and how the fighter chooses to win or to go about winning, I mean, that's their business at the end of the day. You know, you don't have to look pretty to win. That's just the way it is. You know, it's nice to see a fighter with good technique, with polished technique, throwing pretty punches. I like pretty punches, but if the punches are landing, and if they're reaching the target, what can I say? And the reality is Wilder has the highest knockout percentage of any heavyweight. Now, we can debate all day about his quality of opposition, but it's on record, and it is what it is. So we can't take that away from him. As far as Sonny Liston, his record, his resume, and his legacy speaks for itself. I really don't have to speak too much on his legacy. His legacy is solidified. And he went down as one of the greatest heavyweights of all times, one of the hardest hitting heavyweights of all time, one of the scariest and most intimidating heavyweights of all time. So his record is solidified. But I will say that Deontay Wilder, for whatever we feel like he's lacking. He has a puncher's chance against anybody he fights. If he fought Godzilla, Wilder has a puncher's chance. If he gets criticized for depending on that power, but hey, you use what works. You use what works to your advantage. And he has that fight-changing, one-punch knockout power. He can be losing the whole fight. As he mentioned previously, his opponents have to be perfect the whole fight. But he just has to be perfect for a second. And it is what it is. It really is. So, of course, Sonny Liston has a better technique. He has the better jab. Now, as far as who hits harder, I haven't been hit by either one of them, and I wouldn't want to be hit by either one of them. So I'll just take a wild guess and say that their power is the same, like it or not. I don't care how much you love Wilder, hate him, love Sonny Liston, hate him. Both of these guys have devastating power. And it would just come down to the chins. It would just come down to stamina if they're going 15 rounds. Okay? So I see Sonny Liston. Well, let me back up for a second. Let me back up. One thing we have to keep in mind, heavyweights of today are so much bigger than the heavyweights of yesterday. I feel that the heavyweights of yesterday had better technique, had more heart, had more will. But the fighters of today are basically dinosaurs. These guys are super heavyweights. I mean, you don't see a lot of guys who are the sizes of Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe. These guys are giants, dinosaurs. They're massive and they hit a lot harder. That's one thing we have to keep in mind. It's not the same heavyweight division. So on one hand, in the past, they had to beat the best to be the best. The fights were a lot more brutal. They weren't stopping fights the way they're stopping them today. So the mental toughness was there. But I feel that this generation of heavyweights hits harder and has more power. I don't care how good or bad it looks. It just comes down to when the punch lands and feeling the punch. And so I said all that to say this is not the easiest one to call. Sonny Liston is the easy answer. And I'm sure that's the answer that most of you would agree with. But we just have to dig a little deeper. We have to think about this from every angle. We have to be unbiased, objective, and just look at it for what it is. In considering Wilder's size, his power, and his strength, I can't get around Wilder catching Sonny Liston somewhere down the stretch. I see Sonny Liston trying to be intimidating, oppressing his will, and putting on the pressure, winning most of the fight. But I just see him being caught by one of those what I call bronze bombs. Oh my goodness, this one's gonna get me in so much trouble, but oh well. I'm going with Deontay Wilder by late knockout. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think, and I will see you on the next video.